Welcome to the Capoeira Experience podcast, where you are going to learn how capoeiristas got where they are, how they keep the motivation, why they do what they do, and even how they do business through capoeira. I hope you enjoy it and learn something from their experience. What up, capoeiristas? I'm your host, Instructor Kashishi, and today we have the pleasure to having Contra Mestre Bambu from Ashe Capoeira Chicago. Very happy to have you here, man, with us. Congratulations for the new court, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, of course. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Perfect. So today the show is about pretty much how your capoeira perspective and how you do capoeira and everything from the beginning. So you can start with how you saw capoeira from the first time, or your capoeira story, pretty much. How you started in capoeira?
Yeah, well, I started in Capoeira in 1998. I started a lot like how most North Americans or people foreign from Brazil started, by seeing it in movies. Only the Strong. I saw a preview for that in the movie theaters, and then I later saw it in video games and just other pop culture outlets, and got me interested. I always wanted to do martial arts as a kid. My parents never put me into it because it was a lot of money. We didn't have a whole lot of money like at the time. And they didn't think I would stick with it, because as a kid, I would always want to do one thing and then next week do something else, and next week something. So
Usually.
So we they didn't do that. So when I finally moved away from home for school, originally there happened to be a capoeira class at the university, which was Indiana University.
Cool.
Yeah, they had a little group there. So I had the opportunity to start. My brother started before me. He really liked it, and so I kind of joined in. And it was a small school, just like students, no real teacher, no real master.
Okay.
Just a group of people who liked capoeira, who got together, who had some teaching and some training from other people in the past.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and about 4 months into training, I really enjoyed it. But the teacher of that group graduated from college, and he moved away to California. So we didn't have anyone else to. So we had gone to some other workshops, and we had met some other people around the Midwest. So we decided to travel a little bit and try to train and continue training. And we met a guy, and he said that there was an event in Chicago with the local group here, and we came up to participate in the event, in the workshops. And from that, I met my master,
Cool.
I met him here. He was just a guest, and we talked to him about, we wanted to find a master to really like pursue like our training, and with the actual master of capoeira. So he was kind enough to invite us to be a part of the group, with the stipulations. So cool. Yeah, the stipulations were, of course, like, you got to come this November to our event in Vancouver. And at the time, I'm 19 years old. I don't, Canada, I've never been to. I've never been outside of, the Midwest for the most part.
I've been super excited to be there.
Yeah. The time came to go. It was a lot of money, and we were like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't go. It's a lot of money. He won't mind. So we called him up and said, I don't think we're going to make it because it's a lot of money. And he said, Mestre said, whoever is not here is not in the group.
Oh, man.
So at that moment, we were like, well, let's do it. But the plane tickets had shot up because it was that weekend. So we decided to take a bus instead. So we took
crazy.
A bus ride. We were in Kansas City at the time. And so we took a 55-hour bus ride.
Oh, wow.
Kansas
for
City.
Capoeira, huh?
Yeah, for Capoeira.
That's so cool, man.
We stayed there for 3 days and came back 55 hours on the bus again. So we were on the bus longer than we were in Vancouver.
Damn, that's so crazy.
But that short weekend was enough to, like, at his academy with him and his students and his group, to solidify, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I really, really want to pursue this. Because it was different than what I had experienced before. Before, my experience was this small group who I didn't really know a lot, but I knew I liked the physical aspect of it. But after being in that academy and feeling the energy, the music that the Mestre makes, and
Oh God, I bet that was incredible.
yeah, it was something else. Like to first feel, like literally feeling that the ashe from the Roda.
Yeah,
Um,
I bet.
yeah. So I just continued, and at that time, the Ashe Capoeira was only really in Vancouver. We had some small groups around that area, and there were some factions in Brazil, but they kind of
Okay.
fallen off. So really, we were kind of the first to kind of join the group, and from that, like the group has grown exponentially since then. But our only opportunity was to train with him. So
Okay.
I would, he came to another place, he came to City to do it, Batizado, so we got to meet him there. Then our group spread to Toronto, so I could train with him there, but weekends here and there while I continued to train back in Indiana. And
Okay.
then at one point I decided I'm going to go to Vancouver, stay there for I think it was 2 or 3 months. I stayed, and I
Okay.
and I lived in the academy in the small closet where the drums were kept with
Yeah.
with one other capoeirista. So there was me and one other guy slept in this small closet for 3 months, like while we trained capoeira and clean the academy. And it's like twice, 2, 3 times a day we trained
Oh
with
wow.
um, so that was great. And then just bringing all that experience home to me, to Indiana with my students. But I started to teach there with very limited success.
Yeah.
I I was still young in capoeira too, like this is student.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
went from Bloomington, Indiana, and then I moved to Indianapolis to attempt to teach there. Didn't
Okay.
have much success there either, not knowing how to do it
Yeah.
mainly was what to do. And then I decided to move to Chicago because the capoeira in Chicago was very small. There was only really one other group. So I thought such a big city, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity there. So I did that. Yeah, through my training, just the feeling that I had in capoeira was different than anything I ever had before. Like I couldn't pursue school anymore because capoeira like enveloped my entire life.
Yeah.
I couldn't concentrate on anything except what I wanted to do in the training that day or what I wanted to do in the class that night or, the music, different songs I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn the language and all these kind of things. So at some point I just decided that I think that this is what, my life has to be. I have to pursue this because like I felt infected almost, like I couldn't,
Yeah.
this sickness that I couldn't get rid of because my parents are very well. At least my father is
Yeah.
from the Midwest. He's an engineer, so he's very much of the idea of you after you school, you go to university, you go to school, your job,
Yeah. Yeah.
work for however many years, retire, and then that's should be your life. So
Yeah.
they always pushed me to go back to school, and they were like, "Well, you're having fun doing what you're doing, but someday you should probably think about your future."
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
one day I just told him that I'm working on my future. People spend tens of thousands of dollars on university
Yeah.
to become professional at something, and I'm spending essentially less money to
Yeah.
do the exact same thing to pursue my dream, my profession. And whether or not I make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it or not is
Yeah.
not my goal. My goal is to enjoy my life, do what I love, share what I
Fulfills
love.
you.
Yeah, try to inspire other people to follow their dreams, whatever they may be,
Yeah.
and not feel like they have to be caught in this routine of life of where you have to do this thing. It's cookie cutter life almost. So, I inspired other people. My brother was one. My brother was a very talented artist, but he wanted to go to art school. But there was always the draw of, oh, what am I going to do with an art degree?
Yeah.
What can we do with an art degree? You can't make much money with an art degree. And then after he saw that I was doing what I wanted to do, he started to pursue his, went back to school, got his Master's of Fine
Oh
Arts,
wow, that's cool.
in pottery and things, ceramics and things like that, and sculptures and things like that. So he's really, really good with that now. And that's what he's doing for his life now in Arizona. So that was kind of fulfilling for me. So yeah, capoeira had just became, like something that I couldn't live without. It dipped me into a culture that I feel that in North America,
Oh
being
yeah.
born is missing. It's missing that. I always felt that. When I was in school, I never had any drive or motivation to be anything. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
I always felt more like I was just doing what I'm supposed to do, not doing what I
What I
wanted to do.
really want to do.
Yeah. So with Capoeira, it was the first time I felt that kind of passion for anything. And, I feel like I fell in with the right group and the right master that, you know, stoked me and pushed me forward. And to this day, I feel indebted to him because he believed in me and
Yeah.
he put his seal on me without knowing anything about me.
Yeah.
In a time when people from outside of Brazil were not necessarily seen as good for capoeira. You
Yeah, yeah,
know, I
exactly.
yeah, I even at one of these events when I was in Chicago, one of these events, a very respected maestro that I looked up to a lot was there, and we had one of the Q&A sessions where we sit down and talk with them, and one of the other masters told me that I have to be careful because everybody's looking at me with wide eyes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like,
Try to
every,
test you.
right, jealous. Oh, he plays good capoeira. You have to be careful with it. So they said be careful. A lot of people are looking at you. And
Yeah.
I felt a little bit, like why are they looking at me? And they said, well, maybe it's because you're not Brazilian and you play good capoeira, so maybe somebody might try to hurt you, or something like that, try to break your leg or something like that. So you
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
And so I was like discouraged. So I talked to the other master I had in the question I asked,
Yeah, of course.
do you feel one day that an American master will be seen as equals and not seen as an American master or a European master or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And that master said, no, I don't think they'll ever be equals. And
Oh, wow.
that was very like almost crushing to me because I
Yeah, of
respect.
course.
I looked up to him, and so I was like, what am I doing then? Why am I?
Yeah.
What's the point? So then I went later to meet my master again, just to go train with him, and I asked him the exact same question, and without hesitation, he was like, yes. He said, yes, there will be a day. It's going to be harder for you. It's
Yeah.
a longer road because you have a whole culture to learn. You have to learn a
Yeah.
language. You have to learn this. So you may take much longer to get to that step, but we're going to make sure that I'm going to make sure that if you're the one that wants you to do that, that you'll be like one of the respected ones, because
That's really cool.
he said there'll be both. There'll be some
Yeah.
not respected, and there'll be some that will be. So every time that I take a step closer, it's like a very emotional moment for me because like I feel like this person has put so much.
Holding you back too.
Exactly, and this person is just always to be on that stage for my last promotion was me and two others, two who graduated to a level above me, and then me to level to Contra Mestre that were not from Brazil, and
Oh,
everybody
cool.
from Brazil, is a very like validating moment, in front of grandmasters like
Yeah, exactly.
Alan Ceará and Mestre
Oh,
Branca,
cool.
Mestre Osado, and many other masters that were there, like was something else.
That's really cool. And I'm pretty sure because I'm not Brazilian either. Um, it's really cool to hear that some Brazilian above you try to support you and push you to that step and
Yeah.
be like, don't worry, I got you back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make sure you good there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure that the feeling of that must be like really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it at the time, and when you're a student, you think like, okay, yeah, but then to kind of see him, follow through, and not to only see him give me the graduations,
Yeah, of course.
see the actual like happiness in his eyes, when he's giving that belt to you and that certificate to you, like what to me was like it's just at that moment that this is for real, like he's not just doing this, because you hear stories about people like, oh, they're selling belts to America,
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff, and that's always a fear because I don't want to be, I don't want the belt, and we've had a lot of people who have left our group because it's been difficult to get, to this stage.
yeah.
And a lot of people leave the group to get, a promotion somewhere else and they leave somewhere else and then they get like belt, so fast.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be. I never wanted to be that. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to be seen as that person. So
Yeah, you just want to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be my that I earn.
Yeah, because every time, for example, here in Indiana, like you said, here in Indiana, it's not a lot of capoeira.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Bloomington, capoeira in Bloomington. It's capoeira Angola too, but it's just a few group and it's pretty far apart.
Yeah.
And every time you try to explain to capoeira to someone that doesn't know about capoeira, I was like, how long does it take you to take to instructor? I was like, well, it's a pretty long, complicated.
Yeah.
And or they say like, how long does that gonna take you to like be master or master? I was like, that's pretty hard, complicated question.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like the same day I ask, oh, how do you get to be a black belt? And you're like, well, like in our group, we don't have a black belt. And your group is black belt is going to be a master status.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, and I try to explain like it's not simple like that. Capoeira's you have to learn for our school specifically, like to become a teacher, become an instructor, like you have to speak a whole other language. You can't
exactly.
At least the basic understanding, of what you're doing, because you've got to be teaching youth, you've got to be teaching, like all these little details. So, when somebody hears all this, like, oh, like you have to do that too. You have to there's a lot like that. So, like, how long have you been training? Like 20.
Whoa.
It's like they think like it's a different thing. And the other thing is people don't realize the extent of your training. So when someone you've been doing capoeira and I say 20 years, to them it's like, oh, like 20 years, 1 day a week, twice a week, 3 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
In your capoeira, like it's your whole life. It's every day. It's all day. Your mind is never giving up on it. It's going.
Yeah.
So it's like I've lived capoeira for 20 years, not just like been a part of my life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the kids, I remember one of the kids back in Venezuela, he used to ask me like, hey, how many times per week you do capoeira? I was like, well, pretty much every day. I was like, whoa, you train every day? No, man, it's like, I see out of capoeira like a hoda. It's like, if I fail on something, well, that's a hachera for me. I just got to get up, shake my pants, and come back to Brimbao and go back again to play. Yeah, and I bet Mr. Bahoun is one of the person that really want to shake his hand. I bet his energy must be like really, really like powerful, because I heard Mr. Bahoun since I started capoeira. I think my first CD was I don't know, I had probably like 6 months of listening to Mestre Bahoun.
Right.
And how do you feel that approach in between of master and now the Contra Mestre? Like you are getting to that step. How do you feel that relationship
between me and him, or like?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I've been like close with him for this long, for 20 years to be with him. I feel more like he's more like he's almost a father figure to me. It's very, very close. It's different. When I first met him, I was scared to death of him. Because he's he's a very tough guy. He's very like, and he's very stern too, and just like he's very. It is the way it is, there's no room for discussion with him. If he believes it's something, then that's it, and it's done. And I remember in a conversation where he made 3 vegetarians eat meat, not force them, but made them change their mind on why they should eat meat, just from having a conversation with him at the dinner table.
Oh man,
he was just like, you need it, this, blah, 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 blah. He was just like, he's just so confident in everything that he says. That like, I just saw him sway like these people eat. I'm like, these people are eating meat. Like he's just like, I can't believe that he just did that. Like, so he's just very like, and he's very, he can be very standoffish too, but that's because he wants to keep that separation of
course
and master.
Yeah, of course, people gotta respect him anyways.
Until he trusts you with the what's the word? Like with the keys to the secrets, right, of him, because he's a very funny guy. He's a very fun-loving guy.
Okay.
When it's capoeira time, it's like no nonsense. It's serious game time, But when it's like uh, after class or whatever, we can talk and we can joke and we can do whatever. But yeah, so whenever I see him, it's like I'm just excited to
To
talk to
spend time
him.
with him.
What he's gonna be, what's he gonna be saying?
Yeah.
His what's his political like rant about this week, or was he upset about today, what are we gonna find out, and just kind of go there. And most of the time, I just like to sit and listen, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to soak up everything that he's got to say. Some people like to just interject and talk, and I just love sometimes sitting around and like looking at my surroundings. Like having breakfast at the hotel, and I'm like sitting there, and like to my left is my Mestre, and to my right is Mestre Bambu, and they're talking about capoeira,
Oh wow.
and like I just like
Yeah,
sit.
like a little kid.
Yeah, I'm just like what and at this event in Brazil, it was Mestre Osado and Mestre Malbranco, not Mestre Malbranco, Mestre Bahan were talking
Okay.
about like the past, and it was in front of all of the students. Like at the end, we did a hall that we were doing some filming to kind of
Okay.
promote the event, and the hall that had ended, and we stood there for an hour and a half in the hall, like all the students, just
Wow.
while the two masters, like just kind of went back and forth talking, and it's almost like they forgot we were all there,
Yeah.
and it's just like just more information, just them going back and forth, like talking about things, and then they realized that everybody's still here, and they said,
Oh
"Well,
wow.
yeah, well, if you don't understand Portuguese, that's why you got to learn, And then they dispersed everybody, So an hour and a half
That,
people
that's
sitting
why I
there
say that you gotta understand Portuguese.
for sure, and like because that conversation will never happen in English,
Oh
That is
no, yeah.
so that's why he's ingrained in us too that you gotta do it. You have to speak it. Like you can't just understand a bit here and there. You got to really speak it. So yeah, I mean, I you know, I he's like he's a friend, he's a brother, he's a friend, he's a father, he's a teacher,
Yeah.
things to me, and like I don't know what life would be like without him. And when I see people sometimes leave the group to go somewhere else to have another master, I don't know how I could ever consider myself or someone else my master
Yeah.
because the bond that I have with this person, he's the one who taught me how to play every instrument. He's the one who taught me about the culture, about the dances, about capoeira, how to play, how to fight, how to ginga, how to do this, how to do that. And he's the one who instilled it in my way of life. So
Yeah.
for me to go somewhere else, I don't understand how I could never, for myself. So like that's that's part of the reason I think I'm where I am because I've just kind of dedicated myself not just to capoeira, but to his philosophy to follow like his footsteps. And that's the difference between a student and a disciple, I believe, is that
Yeah. Yeah.
it, he's the master. He knows how to get to where he is. You want to get there, you need to follow his footsteps, and go the path that he's walked for us.
Oh yeah. I bet that was a how how many years has Mr. Bahan doing capoeira?
Longer than I've been alive, 45, I think 45. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, longer than I've been alive. So
Oh,
just
crazy.
that thought
And that's
process,
a really long road of
yeah.
fighting for capoeira and trying to do capoeira and bringing
Well,
capoeira to Canada.
yeah, in a time when capoeira was still like not, it's not what it
Yeah.
was today. People
Yeah.
weren't academies of capoeira in like
Yeah.
every
No
town.
social media.
Yeah, like no social media, right? Exactly. Like it was just like it was just guys in the street, and
Yeah.
to come from such a terrible place, like he was from one of some of the worst, like slum in Brazil, and to be
Recife,
able to
right?
come
He
out,
comes from Recife, right?
yeah, Casa Amarela is where he's from, and it's just like
Okay.
nothing, and he tells stories about times when they would eat flour and put water in it and roll it into a little like paste, and then that's
Okay.
what they would eat for
Oh,
dinner,
crazy. Oh, wow.
and just like these stories of nothing. So when he told these stories, that's what kind of inspired me. He's like, if he could do it from that, why can't I do it in such a well-off environment?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's that's where I kind of like the American dream has become now, like where everybody needs to have boats and cars and giant houses and all that stuff. But the
Yeah.
American dream really should really be we have the freedom and luxury to do what you want to do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
live
And be
well.
happy.
Yeah, because I
You
mean,
know.
people could
Yeah.
off working in like McDonald's and fast food restaurants, like making very minimum wage in the United States. But poor here is not poor in Brazil, poor in other countries. Here poor is you still have a cell phone and you still have like
Yeah.
a roof and a TV and cable and stuff.
Oh
So
yeah.
if he can make it in that situation in that time, then why can't I do that? And why can't all of us, if we want to, like if we
Yeah.
really desire and really dream for it, then why can't we do it? So that was kind of where I took my steps to trying to change the path, the idea of what we want.
Yeah. And that's when I came with the idea of why don't you use technology to bring more capoeira even more together, because
Mhm.
I feel like with social media, YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, all the stuff that helps us to get together. But why don't you use like podcast? There's a couple capoeira podcast,
Mhm.
but it's just a different information. My
Mhm.
goal with this is more share these kind of experiences that you have, like try to like open the mind and the eyes for different people
Mhm.
around there to understand how all these people or all of us work hard for what we really want to do, like this
Mhm.
passion, this way to transform our life, which
Yeah,
is capoeira.
yeah, yeah. I think to reach like the message that I like to get to people is that you know you can do whatever you want to do if you really put your mind to it and really put yourself into it. And if
Yeah,
capoeira is something that you love and you really enjoy it, then do that. Any other work that you have to do to get there is is just helpful. That's why I've always been able to be happy in my life, no matter
yeah,
what. I worked restaurants for like 20 something, 26 years, I think, in restaurants because it was flexible and it assisted me to pursue
to
my
do
dreams.
capoeira.
Yeah. So I would come to work and everybody would be like upset because it was a slow day or it wasn't busy, and they weren't making them a lot of money.
Yeah,
And I would be just fine because not because I don't not because I don't need the money, but because I know that this is just like temporary. This is
yeah,
a step along my way. And if I'm not making $200 a night or whatever it is that everyone else wants to make, like it doesn't matter to me because
I'm doing
tomorrow I have
capoeira later.
right, yeah. I've got with it tonight. I've got with it tomorrow. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
I'm there and it's like it's not busy, I'll say like, can I leave? Can I just go home? Everybody else wants to make money, wants to stay. I'm going to leave. Because I have other things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like you can like everybody can be there. And I always worry about the new generation of people coming in capoeira that now the capoeira is so kind of I don't want to say rampant, but it's a lot more prevalent than it used to be.
Yeah,
That I feel that a lot of times, at least in my own academy and in our group, a lot of times this new generation below me, the student generation, there's very few, if any, that really feel that capoeira is like a feasible path, a feasible journey, that they should be able to be taking. Instead, they would prefer you or me to take on all of that responsibility, and they
yeah,
just would rather be a student forever,
yeah,
And so,
exactly.
like for me, I think my goal is for everybody that walks in the door to push them to one day, you can be a master too,
Yeah,
even though
exactly.
it's a crazy path, but you can do it if you want to be it. And it's overwhelming, I think, for people. It's a lot of responsibility. It's not like other martial arts, like we said before. Like at
Yeah,
some point, you have to start teaching. Like to become an instructor or instructor or professor of capoeira, you have to have students. You have
yeah,
to be
exactly.
have
That's true.
class, because if you're an instructor, you're an instructor of what, right? If you're a
Yeah,
professor,
exactly.
professor,
Yeah,
right? Just to
yeah,
have a
exactly.
belt doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Because, for example, it's like people in the university, they're professors,
Yeah.
but they're professors because they're students, because they go to teach something.
Yes.
But if they quit, you're not professor anymore. You
Right.
retire.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
or before you be a professor, you're still a student, but you're not professor yet because you don't have your students. So I
Right.
get a point of you gotta be on that point if you wanna teach something, if you wanna pass along what you already know.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I think for all the point of this is the capoeira has a really benefit, incredible benefits for society, for people, for countries, and myself. I've seen many lives transformed just
Yeah.
with capoeira. I didn't even mind. Like before, I used to be like extremely. You won't believe me how shy I used to be.
Yeah.
And but capoeira transformed me to like different person.
Mm-hmm.
Capoeira helped me to overcome this shyness
Yeah.
and got all the craziness out of me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from your perspective now of all these years doing capoeira, what do you think is the from your eyes the benefit that capoeira can bring to our society?
I think it like the main benefit. I mean, there's so many, but
Yeah.
if I think
Yeah.
like the main benefit is it it has a sense of community.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
brings people together, and
Hmm.
it opens. If I'm thinking, and if I think mainly, I'm going to talk mainly in like North America, like United States terms. And
Yeah.
I think our society is very closed to the world, right? Like closed eyes to the world. I
Yeah.
don't think we realize what else is out there. So because of that, we don't see a lot of um, we don't have a lot of empathy towards people from
Yeah.
outside our own country. So, and I see this from, like we see it now, like wanting to build a wall to stop people from Mexico, right, or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And even beyond that, what I've started to realize is within our group, the people who have the most trouble learning Portuguese language are the Americans.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few within our group. Like I'm actually like two, me and one other speak
Okay.
Portuguese, like really speak it. And that's because I feel, and I know that this is why I had hesitated to learn or to start speaking, is because people always either laugh at people who have an accent.
Yeah.
People always say, "Don't if you don't speak the language, you need to be speak the language." Like what? You don't even speak English. What's wrong with you? Like
Yeah.
so they have this very closed mentality towards other people, as opposed to other cultures. If you're speaking their language, they're excited that you're trying to learn the language and
Yeah.
they want to help.
They
And
are.
they're
Yeah.
just you say a couple words and they're super excited.
Yeah. They even help you too.
Yeah. So that's, and I think that closed mindedness is why people, even if the person themselves, like I wasn't closed minded to it because my mother's from Thailand, so she has a very thick accent.
Oh,
But
cool. Okay.
so I've heard it before, and I've heard people like talking bad about people with accents and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so in your mind, subconsciously, you think if I'm going to try to speak this person's language, I want to be good at it. I don't
Yeah.
want to
Exactly.
speak it. Like, so then you don't even try until you're good. So I think that like with Capoeira, you get to see the world. You get to go and travel. Like I remember, like at first it was Canada, like a big difference in, the world to Canada. Then it was
Yeah.
Mexico, and then next thing I know, I'm in Brazil. And then I'm in Europe, I'm in Poland, I'm in the UK, I'm in Sweden, I'm in Germany, I'm in Southeast Asia, all for Capoeira.
That's
And
awesome.
each time I went, I was decided that I wanted to go and I don't want to stay at a hotel. I want to stay with someone who lives there,
Yeah.
experience like their life and how it differs from my life. And so I would see, oh, this person, they only have one, faucet for the shower. There's no hot and cold. It's just one, like that,
Yeah.
and then you start to realize, you know, how
Open
different
your eyes to different cultures.
and then you come home and you realize how well off you are, even if
Yeah.
you don't have that much. So every day when I come home from wherever I am, like I look like, oh, I've got something that dries my clothes. I don't have to hang
Yeah.
them. I've got internet everywhere, like,
Yeah. Pretty
you know,
much.
so you just like, now I don't need that much to be happy. And it's not a competition with me to my neighbor to see what does he have, you
Yeah.
know, oh, his car is bigger than my car. I need to get a better car. Oh, that guy's house has this and that. So I don't think of those things because I continually travel. I continually see these things and know the rest of the world that I see. There's so much less for so many more. in other world. When it's here, I have I I don't need much, you know. I can live life with what I have. So I'm never like feeling that need to go and get this thing and go and be better in this way, you know. Like I'm happy with what I have always. And if I'm never worried about, you know, finances, because if things go down, we even have laws here where it's like, oh, you're bankrupt, okay, bankrupt, all your debts are gone, start over.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's easy, right?
Yeah,
Deal.
that's where you started. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that opening your eyes to the rest of the world is probably one of Capoeira's biggest tools. You know, and it fills a hole. You know, like I said, it fills a hole that many people don't have. They're missing something in their life. You know, depression. You know, that people have here. Is because they're missing some sort of purpose, you know, and I know that that's where I was headed. I didn't have a purpose because we don't have anything that galvanizes our country together. You know, like we don't have a war that we all, you know, like World War II was something that the entire world could get around and gather around and fight for that, right? We haven't had anything like that, you know. Since then, like since then everything is divided. Everybody's like on one side or the other side, and I think that capoeira can show you and teach you that there's so much more to the world than what you watch on TV, the news, and whatever it is in your own backyard.
Yeah, where all of us are equal, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and because I first went to Brazil, and when I'd say I'm not from the United States, and you'd be like, oh, cool, you know, like you know, but then even to Canada, you know, like the first time I went to Canada, they were very like, oh, Americans, huh? Like, you know, but then they realized that there's a stereotype for Americans.
Yeah.
You travel to another country, you realize that there are stereotypes, and people are people, you know, like no matter where you go, there are good people and there are bad people.
Yeah, exactly. Any country.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do capoeira. We jinga.
Yeah.
Still jinga, the same jinga is here or Canada or South America or whatever.
Yeah. And that's what, and I shared that room with, in the academy in Vancouver with a guy who didn't speak any English and I didn't speak any Portuguese. Right? So we shared that.
Oh, crazy.
I didn't really learn little bits here and there I would learn from him. And he was trying to learn some English. But when we played capoeira, it was like, and we spoke the same language, you know? That's and so that was that's what was this kind of cool, like, we felt like great friends, you know. We're always like feel so close and friends and joke stuff, you know, like what we can do. But just from capoeira, you know, we had this relationship that was really tight.
Yeah, doesn't really matter which language you speak. If someone say Ahmada is gonna be anywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and so that's for the benefit for our society.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when you have to be at school, you got to take care of like financial part too. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, you still got to pay rent for studio and all stuff. Like, what do you think about like the part of like the business part of capoeira? Yeah. How what do you think about that?
Well, I think that I was discussing this actually with my wife recently because we were talking about samba schools, and I think there's a difference between building a business around spreading Brazilian culture, and using Brazilian culture to create a business. Right? I think they're different, you know, in that kind of wording. So I think if you're just trying to basically take advantage of a niche, you know, like everybody wants to do capoeira now, you know, and in the movies, you know, so we're going to do a capoeira stunt class, you know, like that kind of stuff is kind of bastardizing capoeira and taking parts of it just to use, you know, for something else. That stuff is I don't agree with, but if the goal is to spread, you know, capoeira, to make sure capoeira has a healthy future, and make sure that the history and the culture doesn't die with the times, then of course I feel like why not? Why should we? I consider myself a professional. Right? I'm a professional I'm a professional athlete, right?
Yeah.
I capoeira. I spend 20 years training. I train every day. I work out. I do all these things. Why is it different? Why should I not be paid for my services, for my work?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I have a lot to offer. And I feel like anyone who's dedicated their life and their time to capoeira and put in, that
Investment pretty much on yourself.
that, and giving back to the culture,
Yeah.
not just I'm doing this for myself, but I do this and I give back to the culture and I go to Brazil and I bring clothes with me and I donate and like all these kind of things, food drives in Brazil, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to more than just, oh, I'm just here to do capoeira and that's it. I try to create connections and find ways that I can help and assist in different ways. So, who should be paid and who shouldn't be paid? Why should
Yeah.
I not? Why should I not pay my master for the lifetime of service that he's done for capoeira
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
that he's brought to me and that he's entrusted the future of with me? So yeah, of course, I want to pay him. I want to
Yeah.
pay him more, right? And so I do think that sometimes people look at when you structure a business and make a business out of capoeira, that they look down upon it for some reason. But I think that's because of the history, because it's very young in an academy setting. Capoeira is only three generations removed from the very first academies.
Yeah.
So when people see, oh, he wants academy and he charges people to come in, I'm like, yeah, I charge people to come in because I have to keep the academy open, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the way that I treat it is I when the students come to my academy, they're paying for a service, right?
Yeah.
But my job is to make them understand that they are a part of something. They're not coming in and here's my $10 or my $20 and teach me and then I'm leaving. Like, if that's how they want to be, then of course, then now they're just a customer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I want them to understand that the academy is for them. If I want to make money from capoeira, I'm better off teaching in somebody else's studio, right? Where I get 100% of the money to me.
Yeah.
Right? But the academy is open because the students want it. So this is your home. This is the students'
Yeah, exactly.
home. You are contributing to that. You are helping keep the doors open. Now, I'm not driving Maseratis or anything like that.
Yeah.
I drive a car that I need to get from A to B, right? I'm here to teach you capoeira. Anything that I make from this, right, is just a bonus. But like everything that you give money-wise is not paying for a product. You are paying to help keep the doors open. And that's what I want people to understand. And I always try to invest more into the academy so that they understand that anything extra that we get, we're going to put back into the academy. So here's some money. We put in new floors last Christmas, like me, a student, and my wife, and a couple of students. Like over Christmas break, we just worked, put in brand new floors, and then we added some weight equipment, some different things. So as we come across the ability to do these things, we add to the academy so people understand that. So I mean, I have students now who I had one just yesterday came in. He hadn't been there since October.
Okay.
And he paid me for the last 3 months. Right? He hadn't been there since October. So he paid me for October, November, and December. So he didn't come November. He just started December yesterday. And he paid me for the monthly fee for those 3 months. And he volunteered it. He didn't ask. He didn't
crazy.
Ask like, hey, you missed 3 months, you got to pay. He's like, he came up, he said, I think I owe you since October. So for 3 months. And so that was it. Didn't, no questions. Nothing.
Yeah. Plus the benefits the other students too.
Yeah, because he wants to come back, right?
Yeah.
Because I tell him he wants to come to the academy, and I tell him like, if you stop coming, the academy is going to close. If I don't charge for this, the academy will close.
Yeah, of course.
It's easier for me if I teach capoeira out of the yoga studio. Just give me their schedule, whatever I can work 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Like it's easier for me, but I don't want that. I don't want that for you. I want you guys to have a home that you can come to. You want to have a class, you want to add a class to the schedule, you have that flexibility, you have that freedom. If you guys move this day to this time, we can do that. You want to have a little extra training and I'm free, Like, let's come in at 9 o'clock. You want to stay overnight and train all night and have a holiday until 3 in the morning? Then we can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
that the academy offers to them, and that's why I feel like for me it's a must. I have to have that, for them. And if we make some money off of capoeira, then that's fine. So I charge a premium. When you do
Yeah.
a workshop, I charge money. Right? That's my work that I've done.
Oh, of course.
And I just don't, and I guess I've never understood why there's so much pushback on it. Part of me thinks some of it may be jealousy, that you can get, someone can get charged that much and then somebody else can't,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they can't charge that much. And when people ask me like why I charge so much, I just say like, you get what you pay for, like
Yeah. Exactly.
you're going to get this, right? I don't know what they charge you over there, and I don't know what they offer over there, right? But this is what I'm worth,
Yeah.
And, you're going to be getting this, and this from me,
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's like a doctor trying to work for free. I don't think a doctor, after investing so many years on being a student and
yeah,
student loans, or
yeah,
if they got student loan stuff
sure.
like that, at the very end, they want to be a doctor. They also want to get paid.
Yeah, yeah. And being a doctor is for the good of the people, correct?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, if you really want to break it down, you would say, well, a doctor should be free as well. We shouldn't have to pay for doctors. They should
Yeah.
be
Exactly.
doing it for us. Like, but no, he spent so much time
Yeah.
learning.
He got to feed his family too.
Exactly. So, like, I'm dying. He's going to fix me, and
Yeah.
save my life. Why shouldn't I pay him a premium for that?
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
and I mean, capoeira is not as dire as saving a life, but I mean, in a way, it can be. I think
Yeah. In some ways.
pull somebody's, change somebody's life, you know, and I think that like that's something that's a great responsibility that we
Oh
have
yeah.
as capoeiristas is as teachers and leaders and role models is to lead not just adults but kids as well. Coming up in capoeira, they look up to people and look up to us. And we have a huge responsibility to help them lead a better life, or
Oh
to
yeah.
put them on track, to do good things.
Yeah. And how do you use advertising for your classes?
How do I advertise?
Yeah.
I most of it's electronic now. It used
Okay.
to be before social media and before Google and all these things. Like it would be mainly like flyers that I would put in grocery stores that had like the little tear off numbers, and you cut like little flaps at the bottom of the paper,
Yeah.
your name and your number on it, or
And the
capoeira.
people like rip it. Prick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the original way. Then I went to flyers. I still have flyers, but I don't kind of canvas like I used to canvas. Like I would go to the
Okay.
area of the academy and just put them in like coffee shops and different things like that. Excuse me. But now I don't do that so much.
Okay.
Most of my stuff is through social media, Instagram, Facebook, and I just try to make sure that my Google crawl is very strong so that my website pops up very high and
Okay.
on the map so that when people see me. And then one of the biggest things is reviews. I always try to make sure that all my students review the academy, and put
Okay. Okay.
put in a review, whatever it
Yeah.
is. It doesn't matter if it's a great review or a bad review or whatever, because
Yeah.
the more views you have, the higher your crawl, the better you look, and it looks more official. Like if you've got one
Yeah.
review, it just looks like it's like a restaurant. If you went to a restaurant,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I was about to say that.
reviews, yeah, you're gonna probably go to the restaurant with more reviews, even if it's not as highly rated,
Yeah. Yeah.
That-
So psychologically, people go to that one because it
Yeah.
has more review, even if it's
Exactly.
negative.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fact that I'm one of the only like brick and mortar capoeira schools in Chicago, like where that's all we do there is capoeira. Like
Okay.
that's a big draw for us versus other schools, because people want to see pictures and they want to see what's going on
Of course.
inside, and they want to see. So now we have people who walk by and they take pictures of places, and then on Google you can see like people have like some of the parents will post pictures on Google. So inside the class, outside the academy,
Yeah.
so you can actually see the front when you're teaching at a yoga studio or a martial arts school. When people
Yeah.
look at your school, you may pop up on Google, but when they go to look for it, they're going to see another school. So
Yeah.
that makes it harder for them like, is this a capoeira or is this going to be, a jujitsu school? What is it going to be?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's the benefit, of having your own
Only
place.
capoeira.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long did it take you to build that school? Like
Mhm.
when did you start it?
Uh, I I moved to Chicago in 2004.
Okay.
Uh, uh, and from '04, it took me 5 years. '09 is when I decided to open my own school.
Okay.
I taught in a yoga and karate school for the first, I don't know, maybe 4 years, maybe five.
Okay.
No, about 4 years. And then um, we had some differences with them, and then we left and went to we were like, okay, we'll find a community center, and we went to community center, and it was just a disaster. People would be coming in like to the center, like waiting for a party that was going to start later, and they were already drunk, and so
Oh,
it's class, and there's drunk
yeah.
guys wandering around, and there would be broken glass on the floor from
Oh,
projects they were doing or something like that, and so we were. I was thinking like, well, let's go find somewhere else, and then I just thought to myself of like, I'm just going to just get my own place.
yeah.
And I couldn't afford it. I had maybe 10 students, and I was like, all right, and if I'm going to do it, I got to
Yeah.
do it. So I found a place that was just kind of, he was just kind of starting to renovate it himself. And so I rented it. It was a good enough price for me. And we just kind of worked out of there. And I just kind of dug a giant, like, financial hole for myself doing it. But for
That's
me,
awesome.
again, it was an investment, in the end. And now it's still struggles, right? It's
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
some months are better than other months, and you just got to and you learn lessons, like I don't have a business degree. I don't have
Yeah.
anything, sort of marketing degree like that. So I just, I learn, things start going great and I feel good and I relax. And then you just realize that you just got to hustle all the time. You want
Yeah.
your
Of
students
course.
to be out there. If you want to keep growing, you got to constantly be out there because growing, you're not gonna you don't grow and then stay. You grow and then you shrink. If you have to constantly have new people walking through the door and constantly
Yeah.
having new people, and that just requires you to constantly be out there. And luckily now it is a little easier with social media and social media
Social media.
marketing.
Yeah.
If you can just you're a walking advertisement. You just film a little something that you're doing, take a picture of the academy as you're walking in, post it, put some hashtags on it, and
Yeah.
people will see you if you know kind of what you're doing. So that's it, just be out there.
Yeah. And do you have any event coming up? Like any event coming
Uh,
up at your
here,
academy?
yeah, at the academy, no, we don't have anything special. We're probably going to do this month, at the end of the month, we may do kind of a New Year's open
Okay.
hall. We haven't done anything. We'll probably do like a celebration for my graduation as well, probably at the same time. We
Okay.
try to
Okay.
do once do a harda because then we celebrate all the birthdays, at the same time as well.
Oh, cool.
Uh,
That's a good idea.
and, and then in January we'll probably do some sort of open house, kind of because we're going to try to revamp our schedule a little bit, try to change some things around, maybe add like a yoga class or something like that to the
Okay.
academy. Some people who are interested in teaching, um, just to try to monetize our hours there. But yeah, nothing major. We do plan to have a Batizado next year, but it probably won't be till summer or early fall. We just
Okay.
have to working with the Brazilian Cultural Center here, and they've got some sort of big event planned in late August, I think.
Okay.
And if things work out, we would like to kind of coordinate our event with them so that
Oh,
so
cool.
that kind of make some big joint event. And if we can do that, and that would be a lot of help financially for us for the event because it costs a lot of money to run Baccalaureate.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Let me know, and I will spread a voice here once
sure,
the podcast
yeah,
is up.
for sure. I know. As soon as I know, like for sure, I'll set the dates with Mestre, and once those are set, then it's in stone, and then we start advertising for it.
Perfect. Perfect. Count on me with me, and I will try to spread the voice
Sure. Awesome.
however I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah. And to end, how people can find you if they want to do a workshop with you, or if they're around Chicago and they want to find you, they want to go to a class with you. How people can find you?
Yeah, you can just find me like anywhere. I have like all social media accounts, and the easiest is probably Axe Chicago, AXE Chicago
Okay.
.com is the website. Otherwise, if you look up Contra Mestre Bambu, or it might still be under at this moment, Professor Bambu,
Okay.
or Axe Capoeira Chicago, or Capoeira in Chicago. Like if you look it up, if you Google that, you can find me pretty easily. And Facebook, like I have a Facebook page for myself. For my personal page, I have my capoeira page, and then I have my academy page as
Oh,
well.
cool.
I try to keep those all separate because my personal life now I try to keep separate from my capoeira life. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people
same.
follow me as a capoeira, teacher. Like they don't, if I want to post some goofy cat video or something, they're not subjected to that. Like they can see just the capoeira stuff over here, and
Yeah.
then they're my friends, people who I'm more close to, because it starts to get ridiculous because I get friend requests from people I've never, like within our own group, like
Yeah.
from Azerbaijan. I get, I've never been there, and I met one guy from Azerbaijan. Like I've got like 10 requests or 10 friends from people from Azerbaijan, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these are. And then my feed fills up with all this stuff, and like, so I'm like, okay, we'll put them all over here, separate that a little bit.
Yeah. The capoeira one side, personal
Yeah,
stuff one side.
yeah. Okay.
And so, okay, so what is your Instagram account?
Instagram account, like I'm about to change it because at now it's at Professor_Bambu.
Okay.
So I'm about to change it. I just don't know what I'm going to change it to because I put it Professor because I thought I would be there for like another 5-10 years before I have to change it, but it kind of came quick. So now I have
Okay.
Mestre, so I don't know if I should change it to that or if I should just change it to something like Axe Bambu.
Okay.
Then it would be something that's going to be set in stone until Mestre's status comes. So Instagram at the moment it's at Professor_Bambu.
Okay.
My my
And for your
Facebook.
classes,
I'm sorry.
and for your classes on the Instagram account.
Classes is at Axe Capoeira Chicago. All one
Okay,
word.
perfect.
Okay,
And Facebook.
Facebook, you have Axe Capoeira Chicago for the academy, and then Contra Mestre Bambu is where you can find
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And what about email? Can you give
email.
anyone?
Yeah, it's the academy account. I get all of that. Will be at info@axechicago.com.
Okay, perfect. That's people can find that information on the website.
That will be on the website, and the website also has forms to fill if you want to just reach us. You can just type in on the website and then send a message to us with that as well.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity of trying to share or sharing your experience, some of your experience and your knowledge of capoeira, your perspective, your anything, any view that you have for capoeira and to capoeira.
Yeah, well, thank you for having it. I appreciate it, and anytime, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. And well, I'll talk to you later. And thank you so much again.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you, man. All right. I just want to share something with you really quick. If you are listening to this and you teach or assist to a capoeira class, or even if you have an event coming up, I want to help you. I want to help our capoeira community because there's nothing more important to me than help our capoeira community. Because classes are more fun when there's more people to share this sachet, this energy so awesome that capoeira has. So I want to share your class or event in our podcast. So reach out to us with school name or any information on how people can find you and send it to our email podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. That's podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. And I will share that information here in our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you like this podcast. If you did, take a screenshot, send it to someone that knows about capoeira or of course wants to learn. Share it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everywhere. And help us grow this community with a subscribe. Thank you so much. Peace.